Okay. So for switching, we did the basic configs, host name, banner, the passwords, the security, and after that we did the VLANs. So today the last technology is called Ether channel. And so we did VLANs, we did STP, how to elect the root bridge, and today is the last chapter. It's called Ether channel. It's something simple, but the configs are a bit not. It's easy, but not easy. Yeah, it depends. So what is Ether channel? Let me come down here. Okay, all VLAN stuff we did. Router on a stick. Yeah, so this is Ether channel. So here we check the definition of Ether channel, benefits, why we need it, what is a port channel, what are the two protocols we use to configure it. While you're busy doing your configs, we have some mode per protocol. Then how to do a full config, how to verify and troubleshoot. If you know all these things, yeah, that's all for Ether channel. Definition, benefit, what is a port channel, the two protocols we use to form Ether channel. Per protocol, we have some modes, auto, desirable, on for PAGP or PEGP. And for LACP, we have on, active, and passive. So we said before that, let me open what is chapter 6, Ether channel. If you have questions, as you know, just unmute yourself and ask your question. So Ether channel is used to, let me zoom this one. See this one? Yeah. So we use it to increase bandwidth. Oh, what is that thing? Yeah. We use it. So when you have a switch, we have the physical port. So let's say each port is 10 meg, 10 meg, 10 meg, 10 meg. If you combine, let's say 4 ports in one port, so it means 10 plus 10 plus 10 is now 40 meg. So you have 40 meg as a new link, a virtual link. And that link is called port channel. Port channel. So when an Ethernet is configured, the resulting virtual interface is called port channel. That virtual interface is what I have my physical interfaces. I do my config to combine all of them. So let's say 4 ports, 4 successive ports, like port 1, port 2, port 3, port 4. I combine them in one logical port or virtual interface, and it's called port channel. We use it to increase bandwidth or redundancy. It means if I did combine port 1, 2, 3, 4, and port 4 fails because it's a group, my traffic will still go through that new channel that is called port channel. That's all. So Ether channel groups multiple physical Ethernet links together to one single logical link. That's all for Ether channel. If you know that, we are done with the chapter. That's all. So when you have your switch, let's say you want to increase bandwidth, or you want to create a system of redundancy, we use Ether channel. So Ether channel will group multiple physical link to one. So it provides fault tolerance, load sharing, increased bandwidth, and redundancy between switches, router, and servers. So if you combine this port, all these ports should be the same. You cannot combine port 1, port 10, port 20. No. We should be port 1, 2, 3, 4. They should be the same. Like if you are fast Ethernet, you cannot combine fast Ethernet, gig, and how do you call this one? Fiber. No, they should be the same. Either they are all gig ports or they are all fast Ethernet ports. So now to group them and configure as to make sure that it's only one link or one virtual interface, we use two protocols. PEG-P, that belongs to Cisco. It means you use it if you deal with Cisco equipment only. Else, you can use LACP, that is open to anyone. So normally that's all for this chapter. So for 1 minute, and you can read this summary, then I'll explain again some stuff. Okay, guys. And anything else is about how to do some basic configs. But if you understand the big picture, for me, it's the best. What is Ether channel? Why do we need it? How it works? How it formed? How to troubleshoot? Finished. Anything else is some readings. Okay. So let's start a bit. So this is an example of Ether channel. So these two switches are interconnected, and I need to combine the physical ports to create only one logical link or virtual link. So when an Ether channel is configured, the resulting virtual interface is called port channel. And it's that port channel we do the config. So first thing first, in your configs, combine which port are you going to combine. Number two, it has formed a port channel. What configs are you going to put on port channel? Which protocol are you going to use, LACP or PEG-P? So Ether channel technology was developed by Cisco, switch-to-switch technique, grouping several fast Ethernet or gig Ethernet ports into one logical channel. So have a look on this also. Okay, so this is a big picture. We group physical port in one logical port or virtual port called port channel. So advantages, we have many: increased bandwidth or redundancy. So Ether channel provided redundancy because the overall link is seen as only one link. So if you group 4 ports, we don't see 4 ports anymore, we see only 1 port. So even if between these 4 ports, 3 fails, we still have our link. So the loss of one physical link within the channel does not create a change in the topology. So Ether channel creates an aggregation that is seen as one logical link. So to combine these physical ports, they should be the same. Either we are all fast Ethernet or all gig Ethernet. We cannot mix them. You can combine up to 8 ports, not more than 8. Now, the two protocols to configure, we have PEG-P and LACP. So PEG-P belongs to Cisco. It's Cisco switch to Cisco switch. And to configure, we have some mode. So in Ether channel, it's mandatory that all ports have the same speed, same duplex settings, and VLAN information. Any port modification after the creation of channel is okay. So when you configure the PEG-P, we have modes: on, desirable, and auto. So we'll check how it works. So let's say I have 2 switches. You see that PEG-P is for Cisco devices. So Cisco, I can use PEG-P. On switch 1, I'm going to combine port 1 and 2. It's also linked to port 1 and 2 on switch 2. So I do my config here on what port 1 and 2 are now one logical port. Same thing for switch 2. We are all fast Ethernet or all gig Ethernet. Now I need to configure that port channel, that virtual interface. When we configure that interface, we have a place called mode. If on switch 1 you put mode on, and on switch 2 you configure your Ether channel, you put mode on, Ether channel is established. So be careful. We have some ways where Ether channel is not established. So you must know when. If you say on, it's fine. Desirable auto, it's fine. You see. If you put auto, it's not formed. So sometimes students will do the configs. So it didn't work. Be careful of this mode. When Ether channel will establish, yes. Have a look and we continue. The same thing we did for PEG-P, Cisco routers to Cisco switch to Cisco switch. So now what we do is the configuration of Ether channel. So first thing first, you group your port 1 and 2. I'm going to group them. We will call one port, one virtual port, or port channel. Now I need to configure that port channel. In that config, there is somewhere it's called mode. If I do correctly on both, it's formed yes or not. The same thing we did for PEG-P, we do for LACP. It's open to anyone. But this time the mode are on, active, passive. So LACP provide the same negotiation benefit. LACP helps create the Ether channel link by detecting the configuration of each side and making sure that they are compatible so that the Ether channel link can be enabled when needed. And we have the modes. These are the two modes. If on S1 you put mode on S2 mode on, the link is established. If you put passive, it's not. So you must know this table also. So check that. Okay, so we have a choice between LACP and PEG-P when we do the configs. Now, a proper example. So you see here, if you do you must make sure all your ports are the same speed, 1 gig. That side should be also 1 gig. Duplex full, VLAN 10. You cannot do VLAN 10 and you mix up that side VLAN 30. No, we have some guidelines. Same thing. So this is an example. So step number 1, identify the port you want to combine. So for students who came on Saturday, we did interface range. So if you want to combine meaning lot of ports, we say interface range, fast Ethernet 0, 1, and 2, and I group them. Group channel group 1 mode, you see, active. So the group number is very important. You can say 10. If on switch 1 you say group 10, it's just to identify the Ether channel. On switch 2, you must also put 10. So you group them, you exit. Now you go to that port channel that is formed, port channel 1 because of the group 1. Switch port mode trunk. Then you can allow your VLANs that were there before. So have a look on that and we continue. So this is an example of how to configure Ether channel, and it's something we have to do now. The same thing we did on switch 1, we'll do the same thing on switch 2, exactly the same, except the mode. We must not change the mode according to the table. So we'll do a lab. On Saturday, we'll take on lab to do for that. Now, how to troubleshoot. Sometimes students say it doesn't work. So if it doesn't work, the port you're putting together, do they have the same speed? Is it fast Ethernet and gig Ethernet? Your mode, are they correct? Your group, is it correct? So anything that you do wrong here might affect the Ether channel. So make sure your range is correct. Your number here is correct. Normally, it can be any number, 10, 5. If you put 5 here, it will become 5 here. So we always start with 1, 1, and make sure everything here is correct also. If you change something here, it won't work, especially the mode. So we have new comment, show interface port channel, show Ether channel summary, show Ether channel port channel, and what? So you can also have a look on this. Okay, we continue. So common issues with Ether channel configurations. It's what I explained. Make sure the ports are fine, the VLANs are correct, and what. Yeah. So this is an example of how we configure Ether channels. The config you do on S1 should be exactly the same on S2, and be careful of the mode. If it's PEG-P, be careful. If it's LACP, be careful of the mode. So if we tap an example on switch 1, show Ether channel summary, it will show you something here. Group 1, the name of the virtual port, PO1, and the port that you combine. So I did combine port FA01 and FA02. So how many Ether channel I did configured here? Number of channel group, only one group. Number of aggregation, 1. So this command is quite important. If you see 0000, it means your Ether channel port didn't form. You made something wrong somewhere. But if it's well done, it will show always info. And you have some, if it D, if it I, what does it mean? So you can check that when we do a lab. So that's all for this chapter. So when we'll do the configuration via a lab, we have 2 labs. We'll do them and yeah, we'll play around and any questions?
Hi, sir. This is Diana. I wanted to know when you're talking about different modes. I think I lost you there when you doing the what is this now? The multi-dropping and using the different protocol. I think I lost you there.
Okay, we go back to an example of config. So it's like you want to write an exam, and the security guy will say, okay, you can allow only female students. You come, we say gender female, okay, you can go. Gender male, we did tell you we want only females. If you're male, you won't be authorized to get in. So when we configure, when you want to configure Ether channel, first thing first, step one, specify the interfaces that you're going to combine for Ether channel. Then you do it here, interface range, fast Ethernet 01-2. It means I'm going to combine fast Ethernet port FA01 and FA02. So when you write that, see, I'm going to group them, channel group 1, mode, this mode, because we say for Ether channel to work, you can use two protocols. You can use PEG-P, it's like you want to cook, and you have, you can use, I don't know, some different type of knives. Knives from China or knives for, I don't know, from Durban, let's say something like that. They're all knives, but they work in different ways. So if on switch 1 in the mode, you say, I want to put on, and on switch 2, the mode you put on, Ether channel will be established. It means your configuration is okay. But if, for example, you put auto, mode auto, switch 2, you put also auto, Ether channel won't be formed if you use PEG-P. If you use LACP, on switch 1, the mode are on, active, and passive. The other one, the PEG-P one, was on, desirable, and auto. So be careful if you want to your Ether channel to get formed, you can use on, or desirable, or desirable auto, or auto desirable. If you put something else, it won't work. The same here. You have S1, S2. You want to combine some ports to form Ether channel link to increase bandwidth or redundancy or for your own reason. First thing first, which port are you going to group? Interface range, FA, group channel, the number. Then you go to the virtual interface. You combine your ports, you group them, channel group 1 mode. You see. So you must be careful of the mode. If you say active, and so let's say you're using LACP, and on switch 1, you put active. On switch 2, you must also put active for Ether channel length to get formed. So to cut it short, always put on. If you use LACP, on is yes. If you use PAGP, on is yes. The easiest way. But if for the exam you say, okay, on S1 use auto, then you must know which one you must put to switch to get form. So no worries, we'll do a lab, and we'll do and we'll see when we make mistakes. It's when we discover, I should have done that or not. So this example, we're going to do a lot. Any other questions? Okay, so we'll do that on Saturday. So today we know oh, I'll remove it. Yeah. So we know the definition of effect channel, some benefit, what a port channel is. We need to choose one of these protocols for the configuration for each effect channel to get formed. We must be careful of the mode. And after that, we can verify if it's formed or not. That's all. So if you want to read this one a bit, you can. Then we continue. So this is an example of how we group. You cannot start with port 1, you jump, you go to port 5. No. It must be, you see, port 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You combine them to be one logical interface. Then we configure that logical interface. What else? So here, if you configure and you're using PEG-P, on your config, if you put mode on switch to mode on, it's fine, it's okay. So be careful of channel establishment per protocol.